Greetings and Happy New Year 2020. Um, there are a number of things that I want to get across today, but the first thing I want to mention is the fact that we are living at a time when we are at a junction and the future is going to accelerate upon us. And if we are prepared, it will be much better for those who are living in those times. So, my name is John Lundeen. I've been involved with information technologies since I was in high school, and that was a long time ago. And my thought is that watching the progress of information technology over these many years, one of the things that has shocked me was the fact that during the 60s and 70s and 80s, we thought about the information age and watched programs like Star Trek and thought that it was set in the 24th century. We thought that we would never live to see the information age upon us. And it is indeed here, and it is now accelerating and accelerating literally away from us. And we need to be more aggressive about staying abreast of what the challenges are. So, my background is in technology and education. And my thought is we need to look at what the future has in store for us and do a better job of planning for that future. Um, Let me kind of get started. The first thing I want to do is apologize for the quality of the video. I am not a videographer. I have the tools and what I need to make something professional and first class. And at this point, I want to get the message across. I don't necessarily want it to be super polished, but I want to open the dialogue. The second thing is that what we're looking at is this futures, and I have three different futures that I want to look at. The first one is the future of work. In other words, what does the workforce and the work content look like in the future? You know, what the prognosticators are saying. The second is this idea of the future of the information age. In other words, what is happening, you know, as we speak, that will propel ourselves and leverage our workforce and communities in the future. And the third is the future of education, how we are preparing our youth and preparing those people getting automated out of jobs for productive and rewarding jobs in the 21st century and 2030. My horizon is 2030. That's 10 years away. If you don't think that's close, because it does sound like it's way in the future, just think back how far back was 2010 and think that, okay, so there are going to be some substantial changes between 2020 and 2030, much more so than the changes between 2010 and 2020. So let's kind of get started. Okay, the future of work. How can we prepare ourselves in our community for the future? And one of the things, there are some uh, visionaries that are talking about it. If you want to kind of get started, I'll kind of point you just in a general direction. You can Google the future of work and you'll see, you know, all the many writings that are out there, many of which I've read and digested. I am of the opinion, I'm a technologist, that the technology will greatly leverage our ability to do things in the workplace and as a business and as organizations. In the process of informating different processes will be both rewarding in the effectiveness of those applications, and be in the value of the people who can bring those tools to different solutions. So this idea of what will work look like in 2030, and a lot of the prognosticators are saying that 40% or more of jobs will be either automated away or substantially changed, where the people who hold those jobs will need new training and new abilities. That's pretty scary. The thing that scares me even more is the fact that because the value of these jobs will be on the people who can use the tools, and the tools are owned by the companies, that the people will not reap the rewards for the work that they do with the tools. And so my thought is that that there will be, you know, a change in the number of jobs, and that we will have large unemployment. I'm talking 30, 40 million people in the United States. That translates to 22,000 people here locally that will be unemployed, and that's not the bad news. The bad news is the fact that they will be unemployed and they'll be unemployable. They won't have sufficient skills to enable them to have a job where somebody is willing to pay them minimum wage. And that basically is a vision, is a future that, like I say, scares me, and it hopefully will scare you, because if we don't be aggressive in improving the futures of our kids in school and those people coming out of jobs, we will have problems. And I don't see any alternative other than to do a better job at aligning what the children and these people that are coming out of jobs will be prepared for. So that's the future of work. There's much more in the content of the presentation than just this piece. I look at a lot of different things. The second presentation that I put together is the future of the information age, and the idea is I want to put the word informate into your vocabulary. The idea with processes is we can informate processes and basically reduce the cost of a lot of things that are expensive, and increase the efficiency and the effectiveness of these things. And so consequently, it's one of those processes that will enable us to have a better quality of life. And that's kind of the summary of the whole thing. The next thing is, what are those things that we need to do? Because we need to be preparing ourselves for those things today, and not waiting until demand kind of overwhelms us, because at that point we'll be behind and won't be able to catch up. Because one of the things about information technology right now is the fact that it is accelerating, and is accelerating faster and faster, and we are just kind of riding along, and we are behind today, and we are behind, even more behind in the future. And for those countries and regions that get this, they will prepare themselves for a future which will be much more economically beneficial. So this is one of those things where I kind of go, where the low country is kind of, oh, I'll say it's, kind of laid back and easy going. This is an area where we need to be more aggressive and put it in place. The next thing is, if people want to use it, it'll be available. If they don't want to use it, then they can let the world pass them by. The third area is this idea of the future of education. I'm an educator, taught at universities, and my thought is that a lot of the students that would show up in my classes were not prepared for the technology that I was putting out to them. And that doesn't mean the fact that they don't have devices, but the idea is that education, the model that we use today, is an evolution of what's called the Prussian economic or education system. And that was rolled out when Thomas Jefferson was president. And we had a wonderful educator by the name of Horace Mann who went to Europe from the Massachusetts school district, and found the Prussian model after studying a number of the different education models, and brought it back in, I want to say, 1843 or 1838 or something like that. Anyway, 19th century. And basically, as a one-man mission, put together an education system which at that point was the quality of the world. And we need to have somebody else do that with what we have today, because in case you don't follow these things, there's a test out there which I think we should participate in, called the PISA test. It's a part of the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, which is the remnants of the Marshall Plan back post World War II. And what they do is they test 15-year-olds every 3 years, and every once in a while you'll hear the fact that we stand 24th in science and things like that. That's coming from the PISA exam, because it basically ranks the schools and not the students. And right now, currently, the one that just came out last month basically puts us at 37th in math and 13th or 17th in reading. And that's kind of not okay, because the math is the foundation of science. and we're working on STEM technologies. So what we're saying is we want to have people do science and engineering and technology, and we don't necessarily think they need to be good at math. And that's a tragic fallacy. So the idea is we need to have a model that does better, more effective with education, learn more, better, faster. And so this presentation on the future of education begins to discuss how we can translate what we do, transfer what we do, revolutionize what we do in schools to sit there and meet this challenge for the 21st century. So the final item that I have on here is that I've come out of the auto industry, and my thought is that I want to speak to the issue of, are there different models. Personal transportation is one of them, and I came out of the car industry after working for years for Ford, and I've always been a car person. And industries like the car industry are going under a major upheaval, and in my way of thinking, that I hate to be a doomsayer, but the fact that I don't see how the automotive companies can survive this triple threat of electrification of cars, of automation of cars, of the idea of having autonomous cars. And the other thing is what's called the transportation services, or personal transportation services industry that's emerging, where we won't own the cars anymore that we get transportation from. We'll just kind of rent them on kind of an Uber or a Lyft type of model. So this is the 4 different presentations. They have lots of content. I'm happy to communicate with you and let you know kind of how and where and why we need to work on these projects. It's just not one of my favorite little quips is the fact that Paul Azinger, the golfer, used to say, golf is a simple sport. You put the ball in the hole. I said it was simple. I didn't say it was easy. So this is one of those things that I'm afraid it's not easy, nor is it simple. So the idea is that I need to have the community educated. I need to have a certain amount of outrage. I need to have the people be aware of what the future holds if we don't do anything. And hopefully that we will decide that we need to do things and prepare people better for the future that is coming and will get here. Are we going to be on board? Thank you for your attention. I'm happy to talk with you and schedule a presentation. Talk to you soon.